Hi Vogue, I'm Halle Berry, and today I'm gonna be looking through my life in looks. Whoa! Oh God, this was Miss World. I was wearing my prom dress. Couldn't afford a real one. That dress got me far. I became Miss Ohio, I became Miss Teen America, and then Miss USA for the World Pageant in this dress. Hair was like big, like fluffy hair, a lot of Aquanet, like that you move your whole head and the whole head just goes with it. That's how hairsprayed it was. But it was fire at the time. Oh. This is back in the day when you carried your makeup around in a kit, and that was like okay to do. That's what was in that kit. That was my makeup. And this was like, oh, this is where my love of the leopard print was born. I still love a good leopard print. And I can see like the high-waisted jeans, the chunky heel boots, all this is so 90s. Some of these things I do wear from time to time because they are coming back. And like every decade, honestly, can come back. And it's happening, and that lets you know how old you are. When your old stuff comes back, you realize, I still have some of these things, and I save them for that reason. So some of these things I do wear. Oh God. Yeah, this was somewhere in Atlanta, I can tell you that. This was my Atlanta look. Just because I remember the look, the belly out, the shorts, the big belt, the clunky shoes. Like this was very Atlanta for me at the time. Had the Halle Berry haircut. As an actor, I was a young actress and I was going on auditions, and every audition I saw another black girl just like me, big curly hair, and I felt like the casting director just like went, you. And then that's who got the job. So this was on purpose. It was very much designed to set myself apart from the other women that I was going up against in my auditions. And the first audition I had, since I cut my hair, I got that job. And that was my first job on television called Living Dolls. So it worked. Oh my God, Niecy. This movie is BAPS. It's called short for Black American Princesses. This is iconic, especially in the Black community. And these characters are beloved, and it was so on point for the time. The nails have come back now, you know, like these 3-inch long nails. It was all so relevant and current at that moment. I often feel like this movie was a little bit before its time, but it was so on point, and I love this. I remember I would have to lather my whole body in like talcum powder just to be able to pull this rubber suit up, and then try working in it for about an hour or two. Then it was just like a sauna inside and just sweat rolling down my legs, and like, but I was so happy. I was so happy to be in it, and it was just fun. Oh, wow. This is from Introducing Dorothy Dandridge. This role was so important to me and so special to me to bring the life of Dorothy Dandridge to the screen. Her clothes were very sexy and very shimmery, so it was a lot of sequins and a lot of jewels, you know, icy diamonds, and hair was always very coiffed and very tight, you know, very 50s, very together. There is this foreshadowing, and I always felt that Dorothy was the first African-American woman to be nominated as leading lady at the Academy Awards. And she lost that night, and when I did Monsters Ball and then I found myself being nominated, I had this knowing that somehow it was connected. I felt so supremely connected to her somehow. Like when I first tried on her very first dress that her manager gave me, it fit like a glove. It didn't need any alterations, right? And I tried on her shoes, they fit perfectly. Nothing needed to be done. And that night when I won, I woke up the next morning feeling like, wow, I think I finished that for her. I think that's what I was supposed to do. So this is the 2000 MTV Awards, and a big shift has happened here. I've obviously gotten way more comfortable with my body because like it's like pow, I'm out. It's out, and I had on a beaded half frock, let's call it. I remember putting this on and being like, oh no, this is it. And thinking, you know, some part of my mind, well, this could be risky, maybe people will hate this, but I also started to realize during this time that I had to be authentically myself and wore something that I could carry and that I felt good in. Oh, this is another one I really love. This is a really great one. This was the Golden Globes. And this was so romantic. And I thought it was a beautiful color. It was almost the color of my skin. It was such a compliment to my skin color and my hair. And I just remember loving the lace bodice and the shoulders and just feeling very feminine in this dress and very classy. Valentino has always worked for me. Valentino cuts for my body. And usually when I put out a Valentino dress, it's money. It works. Oh my gosh, the iconic Jinx Bond bathing suit. We tried on so many bathing suits, so many bikinis, and so many belts. And this looks effortless, but this was a whole situation. Getting this, this little bathing suit right, and choosing the color and the right fit. And we had a knowing that it would, maybe because it wasn't a Bond movie, end up being an iconic situation or something that would live a very, very long time. The biggest acting challenge I had was to make it look like the water was warm, and I was having a grand old time when I was freezing my butt off. This was like a sort of a badass Bond girl. She was on par with Bond. She was very much his partner. And that was really exciting for me to be. If I'm gonna be a Bond girl, I was grateful that I got to be like one like that. And so bam, there it is. I just remember feeling really great in this dress. The top was very open and free and just had these little flowers that sort of covered all the right bits that it needed to cover. But the bottom was very regal and very grand. And I remember this was Elie Saab, and he wasn't the Elie Saab we know now. He was a young designer who was just starting, and at the time, it wasn't the biggest name I could have worn, but there was something about this dress that felt like it made me feel uniquely myself. All that walk up to the stage, name called, it's a blur. I really had an outer body experience. I only know what happened because I have seen it over and over. But I was sure I wasn't gonna win because back then the Golden Globe was the precursor for the Oscars, and Sissy Spacek had won the Golden Globe, so I was sure that I wasn't gonna win. And so when my name was called, I think I was truly stunned and shocked. And I think I left my body. The one thing I do remember is Russell Crowe looking at me saying, breathe mate, and then I checked out again. And I don't remember what else happened until I was behind the stage and I was carrying the Oscar, and I remember looking at it going, oh shit, I won this thing. I think I won it. That's why I have it. When I look at this photo, you know, it reminds me that I am a part of history. In some way, I am a part of history. No one ever takes this moment away. And so therefore there's a soft spot. I'm filled with pride because I was the first African-American woman to win this Academy Award. And as I said before, I think that was I came full circle for Dorothy. And I knew that next morning. I was like, I think I did it for her. We together had this mission, and I finished the loop. Oh! My first Vogue cover. I'm wearing Tom Ford for YSL Rive Gauche. You knew you made it when you made the cover of Vogue, and as being a black woman, you really made it. I mean, I'm shooting with Annie Leibovitz, right? I mean, that's, doesn't get better or bigger than that. And I was shooting with Pierce, who had become a dear, sweet friend at that point, so that was the fun part of it. But, you know, we knew that we were trying to create something special. It was to, you know, highlight our work together on Bond, and Bond is such an iconic series. I remember the first time walking by in an airport and going into an airport just to get a snack before a flight and seeing all the Vogues lined up. And it was pretty arresting. Catwoman, oh my God, this is truly one of my favorite looks. Mainly because it was just so much fun to play Catwoman, to put on this whole outfit, the headpiece, the pants, the gloves that were studded in jewels. These gloves were so heavy. This was just it was a challenge, you know, as a woman of color to be playing Catwoman in her own comic book movie was something that hadn't been done before. This bra top was connected to my body within an inch of its life. So there was no mishaps. But the hard part was I had to do capoeira in like 4-inch heels, and so that proved to be a challenge. I think the difference in my Catwoman was I think I worked really hard trying to actually embody the movements of a cat. A lot of that was integrated into this script. Acting like a cat, walking like a cat, moving, slinking. My version had a bit more of that because I actually learned capoeira and that helped me move like a cat. That was my signature to it. And now, so many people come up to me and tell me that they love the movie. Forget the haters, whoever you are, who cares? Sweetie just did it, paying homage to me, and Catwoman, and she made a beautiful one. And I just love seeing all the other women try on this costume and bring their inner Catwoman out. I love it. Oh my goodness. This was recently. This was this year's Academy Awards. And this is Dolce and Gabbana. And this was made especially for me, this award show. I was doing something different with my hair. I tried this little short wig just to have some fun, you know, to mix it up. And I thought it had such a great chance for me to show my shoulders, and it was so bare, and I thought it'd be really cool to have, you know, a little short, little bob like this and sort of play with baby bangs. And I loved the color of this. I loved all the fabric. It was very romantic, and it was very fun. And I wasn't so sure I could pull a bow off across my belly, but my whole team said, you can do it, you can do it. So I took their advice. I should have practiced the pose. No. But it was fun. You get out there, and that's just what I felt like doing because there was so much fabric. It was so flowy. It was just beautiful. Vogue, thank you so much. I so enjoyed looking through all these looks. I hope you did too. See you next time.